one of my favorite documentaries of all time is the movie Hoop Dreams. The documentary, which you should know very well because it was literally right in your backyard, and in Chicago. Cabrini Green in the house. Shout out to Eddie Johnson too. Outside shots every Monday morning, 9:00. And to me, I wanted to use that as the road ahead to figure out what does Arizona need to get back to a Final Four, because in a variety of different ways, they have missed some key pieces that maybe during the season we didn't really recognize or put too much more emphasis on. So let's take a look at our vision board, and we have also tabbed that Hoop Dreams. So let's start off in the far left corner. Obviously, the goal is to cut the nets, which shout out to Lute, RIP, the legend. But let's start off in the left-hand corner. Corey, why don't you take it from here?
Well, first of all, I'm in that movie Hoop Dreams. You know that, right?
Yeah, but Tavy, you in the state championship, right?
I'm in the movie, Marshall.
I gotta go see this. I forgot.
Hey, I didn't know I was in the movie till sophomore year. I was at Arizona. We went to see the movie as a team, and I'm like, wait a minute, we played Marshall in the state tournament. And there I go, baseline, getting my buckets and blocking shots. So I'm in the movie. Never got a check. Arthur AG, I'm trying to see you. I know you live in Phoenix, so I need that bread. You got to run me that money, bro. Like I'm in the movie for like a good minute and a half. They beat us in the Elite Eight. Bittersweet game, great time. One of the best seasons of my life. But yeah, Hoop Dreams, great story. Wow. But anyway, you talk about what is it going to take to win 4 games in a row in a tournament. Sounds easy, but it's actually very hard. 4 neutral site games. This is the formula, folks. You gotta have some edge. You got to have some swag. A couple of guys who set the tone mentally. We're talking about neutral site games. We're talking about intense, hostile environments. Everybody's cheering for the Cinderella. Arizona will most likely be the favorite the majority of the games on their schedule. So they're never going to be expected to just show up and do their best. People are going to be trying to knock them off. So you got to have that edge. You got to have somebody with that mentality on your team.
Real quick, before you get back, let's go back there, Kevin. Real quick. If you looked at some people on this team right now, who would you define clearly has that edge?
KJ and JB out front. Those are the 2 guys because they can get the rips, they can get the blocks, they can get the steals, they can get the dunks, and they can talk trash. Those are the guys that got to eat and be dogs and wolves and set the tone for Arizona. Toby's a quiet guy. The European Krivas in the center, he's not going to do that. He's not a rah-rah guy. Those guys have the athleticism and the quickness to really set the tone. That's where it starts. You got to have guys who can make plays, get the crowd hype, get their teammates involved. I will look for those 2 guys to be fire starters this year for Arizona.
Okay. All right. Next one. Let's go to, you got to have some good bigs.
Man, quality bigs. Me and Damon Stoudemire, coach at Georgia Tech, shout out Stod. We always talk about bigs because bigs are the building block of every team. If your bigs don't get it done, nobody gets open looks. Nobody gets threes. If your bigs don't draw attention, then everybody else has to fend for themselves. You got to have productive bigs to be enforcers, to block shots, to get extra possessions offensively, to get defensive boards. If you don't have bigs, you're not going anywhere in the NCAA tournament, and that's just a fact. You talk about what they mean to a team, you got to have solid bigs for your guards to play complementary basketball.
So I would say this, an early going defensive or just rebounding in general has been a bonus for Arizona. They have out-rebounded every opponent. They are dominating. They're one of the best teams in the country on the offensive glass. Like, that's great. However, physically, when you match up against the good teams and really the athletic teams, that's where my concern starts to lie in terms of Krivas, and moving forward, and Basar moving forward. Like, you got to expose teams like Wisconsin. They could have exposed Wisconsin a little bit more down low in the paint had they had a little bit more consistent big play. And I think that will develop over the course of the season. And this weekend, Corey, is a big opportunity for those guys to be able to show out, because I'm going to talk about some mismatches that nobody's going to want to face. But we'll get to that a little bit later in a second. So, all right, third point.
Third point, shooters. Now, you might as well tag shooters with the bigs because the shooters can't eat if the bigs aren't doing anything. They got to create opportunities for guys on kickouts, on double teams. Your shooters, I was in the situation at Arizona. I always had quality big men. It was like shooting practice. Some of the threes we took back in the day, we were wide open because our bigs commanded so much respect. So having guys that can knock down shots, a good coach, a good team like Duke, they're going to push you to your second or third and sometimes even fourth option. And if you're out there and you can't shoot, then the defense becomes effective. What they're doing works. They're forcing the ball to you and you're missing. That's exactly what the opposing coach wants. One of the biggest games of my career, Final Four against Arkansas, Damon Stoudemire, lottery pick. Khalid Reeves, lottery pick. Corey Williams, we don't care. Leave him open. 4 for 6. 4 for 6. I made him pay. That's your job on a team, especially a team that has Final Four aspirations. We used to say all the time at Arizona, if you can't knock down shots, you at the wrong school. You need to transfer. I mean, this is how we talk to each other in practice. You miss 2 or 3 shots in a row, get up out of here, bro. You're hurting us. You're hurting us.
Alex Dillard.
Got to have shooters. Got to have shooters.
Alex Dillard is still a pain in my ass to this day, by the way. I'm launching those hash mark threes, man. Come on, get out of here with that mess. But hey, listen, I would kind of double down on that, and I would say consistent shooting as well.
Sure.
Because we have shooters. Yeah, they'll chuck them, but we got to make them obviously, and that's another point. Like Caleb Love is going to play a big role in this as we move forward. And again, we're going to highlight Caleb and talk about some of his strengths and weaknesses as we move forward.
One of the things I'm glad about being here with you tonight is we get to keep it real. And I'm going to tell all the guys out there, high school guys tuning in, whoever, tell somebody what I'm about to say. You're not a shooter unless you're on the opposing coach's scouting report. You can call yourself a shooter. Your teammates can call you a shooter. But if the opposing coach doesn't have it written down on his scouting report, you need to stay in the lab and keep shooting. When a team tells their guys, you get pulled out of the game. If Corey Williams makes a 3 or if Caleb Love hits a 3, you're coming out. He's a qualified shooter. It's a title that is bestowed upon you by the opposition. It's not something you can put on Instagram or Twitter or call yourself. I don't care how many workout videos you post. You ain't a shooter till the opposing coach is worried about you and tells his guys you're a shooter. So that's just a little something from the GED section over here. We keep it real basic for the guys out there.
All right, next topic right here. We have defensive stops. Corey, I know you're going to go in on this. Defensive stops, crucial at key points of the game, but not just getting a stop. We're talking about consecutive defensive stops.
You got to put a lid on the rim. If you want to win in the neutral site, maybe the gym is different. The rims are tight. The refs are whatever. But your defense gets off the plane with you. It's the one thing that shows up no matter who has an off night or how crazy the refs are. Okay, fine. Tight game, we're going to D up. We 0 for 6 from 3, we're going to D up. We can't really get in the flow and get up and down the court, we're going to D up. Bring your defense and get stops. You hold a team. If a team goes 6 or 7 possessions with nothing, psychologically, they start to fold. Guys start panicking. Coaches call timeouts. You can force a team into submission just by locking up on the defensive end. And then if you've got a decent amount of talent, I mean, you remember the year Arizona was winning games. I think Nick Johnson was there, Trzeski. They were scoring in the 50s. People were only getting 50. They were winning games 55-50 because the defense was crazy. Brandon Ashley, all those guys out there D'ing up. They had guys that love to get after you, and they're like, yeah, we may make shots tonight. We may not, but I can tell you what, you're not going to score nothing, and that's the whole point. So consistent stops, that'll help you on the road, especially in the tournament, hostile environments, neutral site games. Play some good defense.
One of the best defensive teams I've seen at U of A was that team with Nick Johnson, Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, Aaron Gordon. I mean, it just from top to bottom, they were solid.
It's no layups. It's no wide open threes. It's nothing. I don't care what you're trying to run. We're not going to let you score. That is an attitude that you guys forge off the court. And then when they throw the ball up, you just get out there and get after people. It's rarely seen, but it's a key if you want to win a championship.
Absolutely. All right. Fifth topic. That will be bread and butter offense. Your go-to plays, your sets that you just know you can milk, and there's not really much the defense can do about it. Because if you're on, you're on. I know you had a lot of those with under Lute. Tommy's got some wrinkles up his sleeve. He's got some sets that he feels comfortable with, and that you could tell the players feel comfortable with. The bread and butter is where it's at.
Yeah, and I think Arizona is one of the programs that's had tremendous talent year after year. So when I say bread and butter offense, I'm talking about Saul. You remember college when you was broke and didn't have nothing. We was going to Circle K, getting food. Like bread and butter was the only thing you had in the house, and you made it work. Something that shows up no matter what the opposition does. That's what I'm talking about. Last year, everybody knew the Ballo high-low was money. Either you were going to get a 2-point layup from Ballo or somebody was going to get a wide open three. You could watch all the film on Arizona you wanted to, but between Zoo and Ballo, it was going to happen. What are you going to give? You're going to give Pella a three? You're going to give Ballo a layup? Like something is going to take place whether you like it or not. That's what this Arizona team has to fall into. Right now, their best offensive option is just take it to the rim, get it on the rim, and let Tobe get the rebound, because that's the most productive offense that they've had against Wisconsin. So they've got to figure out what's our go-to. Who's the guy that's going to show up and give us one thing, rain or shine? And it's hard, and it's a long journey. They may not have it figured out until after the holidays when conference gets in full swing, but they got to have consistent offense.
Yeah, and that's why I urge people not to panic yet, because college basketball season's 30 plus games. It takes a little while to get into it. And yeah, sure, you would love your team to start off 9-0, 10-0, top 5 in the country, but not every season is going to work out like that. And it doesn't mean that at the end of the season, all hell's going to break loose and you're going to get bounced in the first round. Sometimes it happens, but sometimes, as we saw with the 97 team specifically, they worked themselves through it, found a groove at the right time, and everything just connected, and then you won a national championship. So don't panic. It's okay. The last topic is number 6, athletes. You gotta have some athletes. And Arizona definitely has a couple of those for sure.
This is a no-brainer. Arizona's got tremendous athletes. And to be honest with you, Saul, athleticism covers up for a ton of stuff. Somebody gets beat, another guy flies over and pins it against the glass and starts the fast break. Somebody sloppy with the ball, somebody sticks his hand in, breakaway, throws it ahead for the dunk, crowd goes nuts. Athleticism can solve defensive errors, but the athleticism has to be partnered with intensity. You've got to have intensity. You can't just rely on your athleticism, because it's not going to factor in high leverage moments. I think Carter Bryant is one of the most insane athletes I've seen in a long time. But that first game at Wisconsin is above his pay grade. He's a freshman. He never played on that level before. He never heard that kind of a crowd. This is not AAU. And this is not to say he's not going to be a hell of a player, because he definitely is. But I remember getting my toes wet the first time in a real high-level Division I basketball game, and it is nothing like high school. So when you talk about
who's the first person to bust your ass in college?
Oh, man. See, this is the good thing about me. Lute was putting me in at the end of blowouts. So I wasn't really getting no work put on me until like my sophomore year. I started getting minutes, and I remember Lamont Murray gave me some buckets. He played at Cal, Jason Kidd, Brett Berry. I mean, we were loaded with NBA guys in the Pac-10. Go Google that for the young viewers out there. Go Google the Pac-10. It's something that happened a long time ago. But anyway, as a freshman, you can have athleticism. You got to have intensity. But Arizona has playmakers. They got guys that can block shots. They got guys that are tremendous athletes. They ratchet up that intensity, and that can be a difference. You always need good athletes if you want to cut down the nets in March.